Hi, third grade. Miss Fogelman here for your math lesson. Today is Tuesday, September the 8th, and I wanted to let you know that we will be working on multiplication again today, but we will be focusing on arrays. So let me share my screen with you so that we can get started. All right. Okay, so today, like I said, is September 8th, and we are working on multiplication and arrays. The learning target today is that the student will be able to identify what the rows and columns represent in a multiplication problem. Right here is an example of an array, much like the ones we will be working on today. But before we get started, I wanted you to watch a short video on how to use arrays with multiplication.
Hello, class. My name is Miss Alzey, and today we're going to learn about multiplication arrays. What is an array? An array uses rows and columns to solve and represent a multiplication problem. A row is a horizontal line. That means it goes left and right. A column is a vertical line. That means it goes up and down. Let's look at the array of flowers in the school garden. There are 1, 2, 3 rows of flowers in the garden. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns of flowers in the garden. 3 rows times 4 columns equals 12. 3 times 4 equals 12. Let's look at the array of toy cars on the carpet. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of cars on the carpet. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns of cars on the carpet. 4 rows times 4 columns equals 16. 4 times 4 equals 16. How can we use an array to represent 2 times 3? We can use 2 rows of pencils and 3 columns of pencils. 2 rows times 3 columns equals 6. 2 times 3 equals 6. There are 6 pencils in the array. Congratulations, class! You have learned how to use arrays to represent and solve multiplication problems. Now go to your home, school, and environment and find arrays.
Created using Powtoon.
All right, so that was just a brief introduction to you for arrays. And let's continue. Before we continue with our discussion on arrays, I do want to talk with you about the math practices number 4 and number 5. If you remember, we've already talked about 1, 2, and 3. Math practice number 4 is to model with mathematics, which means I can show my work in many ways with manipulatives, paper, pencil, and technology. So it's not only using that iPad for your work, but also being able to use a paper and pencil and to show it with manipulatives like base 10 blocks. Math practice number 5 is to use tools appropriately. I can use math tools and explain why I use them. For example, base 10 blocks, I would say, because I can easily add to and subtract from my blocks. Let's see, let's continue. All right, I want to go over my anchor chart on arrays. What is an array? An array is a set that shows equal groups in rows and columns. It's very important to remember that you have to have equal rows and equal columns, okay? All right, so for example, here's one example. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and in each row we have the same number. We have to have equal rows. So that means we can't have just 2 here and then have 3 here. Each one has to have the same number, as well as each column here has 4. One column can't have 3 and the others have 4. They have to be equal. So this particular array shows the addition problem of 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. It also shows the multiplication problem 4 times 3, which means 1 2, 3, 4, because that's the number of groups, remember? The rows are always the number of groups times the number of in each group. So it's 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, times 3 in each group, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on, and that equals 12. One way we can practice as to or double check our work is we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our answer 12 is correct because we have that many boxes in our array. All right, so let's take a look at this one down here. This one shows 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 8. It also shows 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2, because it's the number of groups times the number in each group. So 4 times 2 equals 8. All right, let's continue. What part of the multiplication problem do the rows represent? So remember, the rows go left to right, just like the lady on the video showed us, okay? And what does that represent in your multiplication problem? Well, the rows represent the number of groups. So the rows would always be your first number in your equation. So we would have 1, 2, 3 groups of apples. So 3 would be our first number. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apples in each group. So the equation would be 3 times 5 equals 15. So the columns represent the number in each group. The rows represent the number of groups. Once again, rows represent the number of groups. Columns are the number in each group. Okay, and remember, our multiplication problem is always the number of groups times the number in each group. So this one would be 3 times 5 equals 15. And then we can check by saying, okay, how many do I have here? Well, there's 5 here, that's 5. 5 more is 10. 5 more after that is 15. So we were right. All right. Thank you for listening today, and I will see all of you soon. Make sure you're getting that work done.